An America Freed from Ageism. Hi, my name is Kirsten Jacobs. I'm a member of the Leading Age Education team and delighted to spend the next few minutes talking with you about a topic that's close to my heart. Like many of you, personal experience brought me into the field of aging services. My grandparents played an important role in my life, and though they have all died, their legacy continues to inform the way I think about aging. Like my grandparents, older adults enrich the world and our daily lives in countless ways. Humor, insight, wisdom, advice, perspective, life lessons. I could go on, as could all of you. And yet we live in a world that accepts jokes like the one in front of you, advertisements like this, and products like these. Mindful that the leading age community is unique in our appreciation for the value of elders and the experience of aging, our board of directors adopted the bold new vision before you. While our vision may be new, the idea that elders are a valuable part of our society has been in our DNA from the beginning. Our organization's founders believed that age should never be a barrier to developing full human potential. As our president and CEO, Katie Sloan, said in her speech at the 2016 Leading Age Annual Meeting and Expo, an America freed from ageism is a big and bold vision, and it will take brave hearts to make it happen. We all need to be a part of this. This presentation is intended to serve as an introduction to the topic. I'll describe the concept of ageism and paint the landscape of the anti-ageism movement already building. We hope you'll use this 15-minute video as a tool to prompt dialogue within your organizations and communities. If you have time, you might pause to infuse discussion and reflection throughout. The first step toward our vision is to raise our collective consciousness. You'll find other resources at leadingage.org. Let's start by getting a sense for the ideas and images we all carry with us about older adults and about aging. What are the pervasive stereotypes, both positive and negative? You may be thinking about stereotypes like slow, bad drivers, cheap, wise, grandmotherly or grandfatherly, not tech-savvy, and many more. Dr. Robert Butler coined the term ageism in the late 1960s. He was influenced by social movements that were challenging sexism and racism. Ageism is stereotyping and discrimination on the basis of a person's age. That means any age, but the focus of our conversation today is on discrimination against older adults. Many note that ageism is the last socially acceptable prejudice, or, said differently, unlike other isms, ageism goes unchallenged and unnoticed. There's a wide range of manifestations of ageism, both individual, like avoiding older adults, or institutional, like housing and employment practices. A few specific examples include the lack of geriatricians and the lower reimbursement rates for long-term care, or the fact that less than 3% of philanthropic dollars in the U.S. go to older adults and aging-related organizations. While ageism is pervasive in our culture today, it wasn't always this way, and it isn't this way everywhere in the world. There are a lot of factors at play. Some believe that with the invention of the printing press and the Industrial Revolution, our society started placing less value on the role of elders, who had traditionally been the keepers of stories. Furthermore, growing to an old age has become less and less unique as more and more people are making it to their 80s, 90s, and beyond. We have found that our increased awareness has resulted in noticing ageism everywhere. I encourage you to become even more attentive to the ways in which ageism permeates your daily lives and your work. Here are a few more examples. Mass media offers some really overt examples of ageism. Here's an advertisement I saw on the back of a bus. It reads, "Your razor's so old its blinker has been on for 45 minutes. What's the message here? Old is bad, young is good, and aging equals decline. Our society often equates aging with Alzheimer's disease or dementia, but major mental decline is not a normal part of aging, and it's by no means inevitable. The brain does change as we age, but these changes are usually not dementia or Alzheimer's disease, and some of the changes that happen with age are positive, like resilience and more emotional maturity. Ageism is evidenced in the workplace through hiring practices and forced retirement. And then there are those anti-aging products I referenced in the introduction. The anti-aging market is a booming industry that capitalizes on our deeply held belief that aging is bad, and that any visible signs of age should be hidden whenever possible. And as a result of ageism, older adults experience both undertreatment and overtreatment in healthcare. I've shared a number of overt examples of ageism. While it's still socially acceptable, it's not hard to identify examples like advertisements and greeting cards, but ageism can also be covert, and the covert examples show up in the things we say. Let's talk about some of the more subtle examples of ageism in language that you likely encounter on a daily basis. Phrases like, "You look great for your age." Our immediate response is, "Thank you," but what's the message? Young is good, old is bad. "My grandparents are so adorable" sounds like a compliment, but it is infantilizing language. "She's 75 years young" also sounds like a compliment, but totally negates the value of being old. "I'm having a senior moment." That's a phrase we hear so often that we don't question the significance, but it once again equates aging with cognitive decline. Or said to an older woman, "What can I get for you, young lady?" Again, young is good, old is bad. The quote in front of you is from my friend Ronnie Bennett. She is in her 70s, and her blog, Time Goes By, is worth checking out. Ronnie reminds us that language matters. There's been some research that supports Ronnie's statement. In the 90s, Dr. Levy of Yale University did lab experiments that included flashing words associated with aging on a screen in front of elders, and then asking them to perform tasks after being exposed to the subliminal messaging. Older adults who saw negative words performed worse than those who saw positive words. Flashing positive age stereotypes like active and creative improve self-perception and physical functions like balance. More of Levy's research indicated that older people with positive age bias are 44% more likely to recover from severe disability. In her more recent research, Dr. Levy found that elders with positive self-perceptions of aging live 7.5 years longer than elders with less positive self-perceptions of aging. 7.5 years. That's back to Ronnie Bennett's point about the self-fulfilling prophecy. We also know from research that the public has cultural models that inform their understanding of the role elders play in society. The Frameworks Institute in Washington, D.C. has been engaged by leaders of aging organizations to develop an evidence-based narrative about the process of aging in the U.S. Their work is intended to help aging organizations find effective ways to tell the story of aging to the public. The first step of this project was to determine how the public currently thinks about aging. The 5 boxes in front of you represent what Frameworks has found to be the implicit understandings we hold about aging. Ideal versus real refers to the aspirational model of aging versus the model of deterioration, so one extreme or the other. Us versus them, older adults as one category, quote, old people, or, quote, the elderly, which leads to an us versus them paradigm. Individualism, making, quote, successful aging about personal responsibility versus recognizing cultural and social factors. Inefficient government, fueled by perceptions of a mismanaged social security system and other government programs. And finally, fatalism, Little can be done to improve life for elders in the U.S., so why bother? With the context I just provided, you might use this question for further exploration. Leading Age members have been sharing their examples with us. Some have mentioned the ageism inherent in the way life plan communities market to active boomers. Other member organizations articulate concerns about the language we use in our field. Others describe the internalized ageism that elders express with comments like, "I'm too old for that," or the complaints sometimes uttered by residents of independent living settings with, "This place is starting to look like a nursing home." What examples do you notice within your life and your work? We are now going to shift gears slightly. The following slides are intended to give you a sense for the momentum that's already building in the movement to eradicate ageism. In October of 2015, the American Society on Aging dedicated their journal to the topic of ageism in America. Dr. Bill Thomas created the Age of Disruption tour to introduce audiences to a very simple but fundamentally counterculture concept: aging equals growth. This book came out recently, and author Ashton Applewhite has managed to gain quite a bit of media attention. She also has 2 blogs, one called This Chair Rocks and one called Yo, Is This Ageist? Leading Age Minnesota partnered with Care Providers of Minnesota to launch Face Aging Minnesota, a statewide campaign to raise awareness about the issues that come with the reality of a rapidly aging society. The 2016 theme for the International Day of Older Persons was Take a Stand Against Ageism. The International Council on Active Aging's Changing the Way We Age campaign focuses on shifting society's perceptions of aging. Juniper Communities founder Lynn Katzman created an anti-ageism camp at Burning Man in 2016. And there's a lot of work happening in local communities as well. This is the Agency on Aging of South Central Connecticut. Leading Age members are initiating important work in their communities too. Amy Gorley of Carolina Meadows in North Carolina created the Be Bold, Claim Old campaign, which grew out of her work in the Larry Minnick's Leadership Academy. Amy encourages us all to embrace every age. Here are some more questions you might use for further exploration. You'll also find a discussion guide on our website. The research and examples I've shared with you represent just a small snapshot of the exciting work that's happening across the country and beyond. As we embark on this work together, we encourage you to find ways, both large and small, to take steps toward an America freed from ageism. Visit our website for resources and keep us posted on your work. Thank you.